Welcome, everybody, to the F4 Hunger Awareness Show.
It's my goal to feed 1 billion people before I die.
We want to bring awareness around the issue of hunger and food insecurity.
7 to 8 million people served so far. With the sole goal of eradicating world hunger by connecting sources of food to recipients in need. Fiorenza's Food for Friends.
Derek Fiorenza here with Fiorenza's Food for Friends, joined by Eric Miller on the F4 Hunger Awareness Show. Eric, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, Derek. Thanks.
I'd love to hear a little bit about your background, Eric, professionally, and then you've been doing a lot of philanthropic work through the years, F4 as well. Please share a little bit about your background.
Great. Well, thank you. Well, Eric Miller, I just recently retired from communications test design. I have a family. We've been in Chester County pretty much all our lives. Been My wife and I have 3 children, and in about 5 days we'll have a fifth grandchild. So all under 4. So still
Amazing.
growing, and we know what serving the community is like, that's for sure. Been on F4 for about 10 years, also serve on the Y board and also some men's ministry organizations.
Eric, I've known you for I guess at least over 10 years, but volunteering has always been important to you. Why has it been important to you, and how do you think that giving back your time has impacted your life in a positive way?
Well, many of us just go through the community and things and, go about our normal lives. But yet, just a foot away from that, there's great organizations doing great things. And F4 is one of those that is supporting the community for those in need. And then go 10 feet beyond that when you get into what the mission is and the opportunity to provide or connect excess food with those organizations that distribute it directly to people, and having the chance to see that impact. It's just an awesome opportunity. And really don't realize how many people in the community benefit from what we would think is, a relatively simple amount of energy and effort is a tremendous impact on so many in need.
Yeah, and I think having a chance to maybe be involved and immersed in it as you have been, you've seen a different side of it. It really, I believe, is very fulfilling. Maybe you could speak to that, the purpose that you get from helping and giving back, serving the Lord through the various, ministry work that we do.
Sure. Well, serving is a key issue of what F4 does and what all of us really should do just in our normal lives, and giving back where we can. That means dollars, time, experience, or as simple as picking food up and delivering it to a location that then distributes it. Some can be a lot of effort, but in all honesty, quite a bit of it is rather nominal, yet has such a great impact. And my reward has been for every hour or every delivery made or every connection made, it's 10x greater than that when you see the impact that it has on people in need.
100%. And you've been involved on the grant writing team through your time at
Mhm.
F4. You've also, I think, cooked meals, you've transported food, you've organized food drives at CTDI. So you've had a chance to kind of interact on multiple levels.
That's right. Yeah, and the well, to keep the organization going, as we've come to accustom to say in our world, is you have to keep the lights on, but you also need an organization that can help support the mission, and that takes a number of hands, a village, so to speak. Um, but it doesn't require that village live there full time. Sometimes you can, like I said, a little bit of work with great leadership and great vision of you and Brenda and the organization goes a long way.
Eric, before we get into the trip you took to Blessings of Hope, the last initiative I want to kind of hit on is the Westchester Chili Cook-Off and
Mhm.
what your involvement has been with the cook-off.
Well, the cook-off has been a very long tradition in Westchester, with the Rotary Club, and just 2 years ago, after many years, I think over 20 plus years of them doing it, they basically said it's ready to pass the baton to another organization. Thankfully, Derek, you and Brenda stepped in and said, this is a Westchester tradition. Let's keep it going. And it serves a great opportunity for F4 to really promote what we do and highlight some of the nonprofits in the organization. Specifically, what I do is for the teams that sign up, both the restaurants and the home cook teams, I help them navigate the health department forms and regulations that allows them to cook at the event, do it safely, and just overcome any potential bumps in the road that might come about the day of the event. So it's been a great experience. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun. We certainly hope for good weather every year.
Yes, we do. Well, Eric, I'm going to pull up the website for the organization Blessings of Hope. And
Great.
you visited Blessings of Hope in Lancaster with Brenda recently. So please tell us a little bit about their mission and kind of your impression being out there.
Well, I didn't know a lot about them previously, so I did a little work, little research before we got there. But Blessings of Hope started in a rather unique way. It was really a biblical vision that their founders, including Aaron Fisher, had in 2006. And they just felt the calling of the Lord, is to quote Aaron exactly, that there was a biblical way for them to do so much more with excess food, to have a major impact, not a minor, but a major impact for thousands of people in many different areas, many different states. From that vision and really calling, they attacked probably the most difficult part of connecting excess foods in large volumes to other organizations. And that's really the handling, the processing, and logistics of it. So what they do in a very brief summary is they've been connected with and continue to grow their relationships with food suppliers who have large volumes, pallets, and thousands of pounds annually of food. And they require very quick pickup on very short notice in very specific trucks, mainly refrigerated straight trucks or semis. So you're talking, millions of dollars of asset investments and handling. They have two warehouses. The warehouses were repurposed from previous sources, and they're fully refrigerated, equipped to receive, maintain cold temperature, and process thousands and thousands of pounds of food a week. So that's their primary. And then what they do is they reach out to other organizations, which are really ministries, all ministries, and put those, are able to break that large volume down into smaller volumes that each of the agencies, the ministries can handle. And then those ministries put it in the hands and connect it directly with people in need. So they would be local food banks, churches, other things like that, that can handle, in many cases, pre-prepped food. And when I say that, when Brendan and I were just there last week, first off, they have about 100 full-time employees, but they oversee over 1,500 volunteers, which is an incredible volunteer networks. And that's out of four primary centers, two warehouses and two selection centers and two distribution warehouses. They have a fleet of semi trucks and straight trucks. They have a few vans, just an incredible setup. But they also have what they call selection centers, where these organizations, these ministries, not individuals, but organizations, actually come in and they pick bulk food, but in quantities they can distribute locally. in the type of kitting that they would look at or like to have. And then they take them back to their organizations and immediately distribute them to families. So last week when Brenda and I were there, they run 2 shifts of volunteers at the one center, and it's a processing center. So when you look at it, it's a building that's 30,000 square foot, fully refrigerated, the whole
Hmm.
building. And they break down pallets after pallets of various products that suppliers give them. Um, and it's very time critical so they don't go bad. Um, and then they, in a kind of like a almost a Ford, production line basis, they line these the different product lines up by type. It goes down a line, and from the front of it, they make the cartons, and by the back of it, they've filled these cartons with 30 to 40 pounds of mixed things, including vegetables, milk, and eggs and other things. So when these boxes are done at the end of the line, they're basically a week's supply. Each box is a week's supply of food for a family, and then that goes into storage on pallets. The the missionary then it's either distributed directly to them or they come to the center and pick it up. So it's an amazing organization, but that's the hard part of taking excess food is processing it. They can even dehydrate it in a commercial sized dehydration center. So they're really repurposing food and processing it into a way that we used to call it the last mile that gets it to the ministry, that gets it to the people.
And it looks like they have a location in Kentucky as well, Eric.
They do, and that's their a dehydration center and a selection center as well. So they do, and they're expanding. They're actually um, looking to expand because through their partnerships, they continue to get more volume, and the demand is so much greater than what they're currently serving. And I think the statistic was the amount of volume that all of their centers generate and process in a day equates to about 70,000 meals per day worth of food that they are managing.
That's unbelievable. And I read online that they're also doing some work overseas internationally too, with some of their dried food.
Well, the dehydration is really a really interesting thing. That is, to your point, they're primarily internationally based, and where it's going is into, as you see on the news in many cases, these countries in need.
Yep.
But and there are a lot of it is vegetables that they dehydrate down. But there's specific requirements, but large capacities. So they dehydrate it, they bag it, they then cartonize it, and then working with logistics on the receiving end, then they distribute it to various countries in significant need, severe need overseas. And to your point, that's one of the areas that they really could do so much more. So they're in the right now in trying to establish expanding that somewhere to the time of 5x capacity through some of their partnerships. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff.
Two things I learned just from reading right now is that when they dehydrate the food, they still retain 98% of its nutritional value. And
Right.
you know this from your career. I wouldn't know this, but it's less expensive to ship because it's a little bit lighter.
It is, and it lasts longer. That's really the key. Is not only is all those things you just said, but then it can last and be transported. And a lot of times in container ships, um, but it's environmentally safe and it can last a very long time. So they take something that's very time sensitive and turn it into something that's extremely nutritious, transportable, and has a long shelf life.
It must have been a really neat experience to see this firsthand, to see how the operation kind of firsthand.
It's really humbling because it was a complete, I would say, 100% lifestyle change for these individuals, and they're really just driven by God's vision for them to serve. And they're extremely smart. They're good business people. They know what they're doing in the industry. They've hired some industry experts. Pardon me. But the key there is they're just really good at what they do. But God's leading them on a path, and they basically say, tell me where you want us to be tomorrow, and they'll do it. And they're not afraid of the opportunity. They said that there's so much more food that they can acquire. It's a matter of capacity and resources to be able to do it, and they're on a fast track to keep going.
And I know we have partnered with them before when we've identified tractor trailers of food. So maybe
Right.
there'll be some new opportunities that Brenda and the team can find in the future.
Well, they were very appreciative of what F4 has done with them to date, and quite open, honestly, for really just open dialogue, some visionary discussions on how we can maximize opportunities on both sides. And just like yourself, their comment was when you combine these different organizations, um, what the outcome of those is incredible. So they were very excited about what F4 is doing, the vision, the mission, the strategy on growth, and how that would align on both ends with what they can do for us and what we could do for them.
And honing in on the opportunity, Brenda had mentioned to me that the statistic they shared, there's a great deal of food that is still being thrown out that we could potentially be rescuing and recovering,
Yeah,
that maybe is not being rescued currently.
that's true. And and some of it's really unique. Like I know F4's come across a couple of unique things where you suddenly get contacted and say, "Hey, we have a tractor trailer of this. It's in New York. Come get it if you want it." And it may or may not even be food. It's still things that can be repurposed to serve those in need. And they're quite similar, have also had those type of contacts. It's hard to respond to though, especially when you don't have a fleet of trucks in the area.
Yep.
And their comment was, "Well, we have a fleet of trucks. We know how, and they're theirs. They own them. They have drivers, and even some of the drivers are volunteers. It's an
Wow.
incredible volunteer
Wow.
network. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So, basically they say you pick up the phone, give us a call, we'll let you know what we could do with it, and we know it has to be responded to right away. And that's the life that they live in as well as F4.
Are they 7 days a week, Eric, or just 5 days a week? Do you know?
They are mostly 5 days a week. They do Saturday,
Okay.
but they're pretty well, they're an Amish backed based company.
It's amazing.
Though things happen, they might roll a truck on a Sunday, but again, their typical hours of operation are 5 days a week plus some Saturday.
It's incredible. And I think this has been really informative for our board to take these trips. I think we're really learning a lot about the partners that we're serving and providing food to. It's really, like you said, the word humbling. It's really eye-opening. Just think about 70,000 meals every day they're providing. Just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. With a vision to, make that 5x. So they're
That's
like
unbelievable.
it's really impressive, and it's just very motivating and exciting to realize that that's what they're there for. That's their mission, and they're all very centered on achieving that, and they're all very focused on where God's telling them to be, and just go.
What advice or words of encouragement would you give to somebody that is following F4 and is on the fence about wanting to volunteer, whether it's to transport food or to make a casserole? What advice would you give them?
I think the biggest, like, just our natural reaction is to when you're approached or even hear that, you're like, "Oh, I don't have the time, I don't have the skills, I don't have this." That's just natural. I would say first and foremost, to overcome that is just overcome it. It's not the issue.
Mm,
You could do 2 hours a month on making a food casserole. It's easy to do. It's relatively inexpensive. And we're literally saying if you want to dip your toe, do 2 hours a month, do a casserole, and then kind of let it just roll organically from there and see what you have time and interest in doing, and honestly, you'll be led accordingly. And it could be as simple as 2 hours a month. It could be as much as being a full-time F4 person. So um, everything in between. So don't be overwhelmed or concerned about time and talent. There is a need and an opportunity for anyone with any amount of time, large or small, uh, just to make a difference.
That's the perfect note to end on, Eric. We appreciate your service to F4, and I'm really glad you had a chance to meet with the team from Blessings of Hope. I know that Brenda has been speaking very highly of them for many years and how accommodating they've been when we've had these large shipment opportunities. I'm glad that they exist, and I'm glad that we're able to collaborate with them to serve those that are in need. So thank you for your efforts and for taking the time to meet with them.
Great, and thanks for all that you do. I mean, F4 wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your calling and your vision. So all of what we're doing is a function of the similar thing that you got called into, that Blessings of Hope got called into.
I completely agree. All for the Lord. Well, for those that are listening, please feel free to follow us on social media and subscribe to the F4 Hunger Awareness Show. I'm Derek Fiorenza, joined today by special guest Eric Miller. Eric, have a great day. God bless, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks. You too.
Bye bye.